Good morning. Everybody's awake this morning. That's a good thing. What if? I believe that innovation often finds its origin in that one simple little thought. If, that is, it isn't immediately followed by the qualifying word but. Let me give you an example. Back in 1932, a year after Thomas Edison died, Harper's Magazine published an article, Edison and His Laboratory. In that article, Martin Andre Rosenoff described an exchange he had with Edison shortly after Rosenoff had joined the lab staff. Mr. Edison, he asked, please tell me what the laboratory rules are that you'd like me to observe. According to Rosenoff, Edison said the following, hell, there ain't no rules around here. We're trying to accomplish something. Sometimes I wonder if we're not too bound up by our own rules to accomplish something. Of course, we're bound by a few things, at least for the moment, a few tenets, some rules, and laws of physics. But what if, as an industry, what if we could look at the future possibilities in the same kind of unbridled, no-rules fashion, and then set a course as an industry to make those things happen? We're on the cusp of change in this industry. You've heard a lot about that over the last couple of days. It's going to be dramatic. The technology isn't quite all there yet, just as in Edison's day, but it will be, and it'll be here very soon. A lack of strategic infrastructure was the reason many of Thomas Edison's and Nikola Tesla's far-reaching inventions, things like electric vehicles, battery technologies, distributed generation systems, and smart devices failed to gain traction in the 19th and 20th century. And it's fascinating. If you go back and look at the patents they actually held on those inventions, it'll make you think that a lot of what we're talking about today in terms of innovation maybe isn't quite as new as we really think it is. They held patents on all those devices as early as the late 1800s. Now, however, we have the infrastructure, and we're seeing the 21st century of those version of those inventions come to fruition. But we're also innovating for the future, building upon the strategic infrastructure that is our electricity grid, and modernizing it to make them more flexible, reliable, and resilient. There's a dramatic change coming with it and dramatic opportunities as a result of that. Over the past decade, utilities have seen increased environmental pressures, a rapidly evolving customer relationship, a growing use of database technologies, especially in grid operations, restricted revenue growth, and pressure to grow margins. For the first time in this industry, we've replaced growth of top line with growth of bottom line. Add to that mix the importance of the regulator in redefining the regulatory compact between utilities and their customers, and we're truly in unprecedented times. Innovation is going to be the key to addressing many of the challenges we face. Industry innovators such as the individual I have a privilege of introducing in a few minutes, Executive CEO and President Chris Crane, or Commonwealth Edison President CEO Ann Pramaggiore, who'll be receiving the 2017 ETS Thought Leader of the Year Award, are leaders we need to keep us focused on today's industries, on the industry's future, and ways in which utilities can innovate in order to remain successful. Many of today's customers want a marketplace filled with innovation. We've talked a lot about that in this conference over the last few days. They also want choice and flexibility. The telecommunications industry, I think, has a lesson for us to learn there, where ultimately they came up with the smartphone. There was a long, long time for that smartphone to be the device we carry today. You remember the old black phones and the push buttons. Essentially, we're today where we were with the black phone with push buttons, in my estimation. We have a lot of things we can do beyond where we are today. The question is what is this industry's iPhone going to look like? The telecommunication industry experienced tremendous growth as it began to evolve along with technology partners. And by the way, that's a key. We have to have partners in this industry to take full advantage of the innovation opportunities that will be out there. The handheld communication device nearly all of us own today was a great combination of the telecommunications, traditional companies, and great partners. There's substantial future growth potential for electric utility industry as well, as it customizes the way it delivers electricity to its customers and makes possible its grid to be used by new and evolving ways. And there are a lot of partners out there. If you think about the following names that are investing in this business today, Ellison, Gates, Koch, Buffett, Musk are already making significant investments in this industry. Most people don't understand how deeply engaged those individuals are in this industry. And along with support from thought leaders like that, with the great companies we have in this business today, we're going to find new opportunities to grow this industry. It's critical for utilities to continue to transform the grid, however, to make certain that flexible infrastructure is in place to accommodate new innovations as they take hold. One example of innovation is the plug-and-play distribution platform. Managing the grid will continue to mean the increased use of technology for real-time operation and optimization of new grid platforms, one that includes new distributed processes at the grid's edge to meet customer demands. You heard some of that in the last panel. These distributed processes, including dispatchable energy storage, microgeneration, demand response, microgrids, and EVs, will need to be managed, modeled, and optimized in real time as supply and demand become a more complex equation. This plug-and-play platform will sit at the center of a complex, multidimensional web of transactions. The interconnected network will include the use of social media and handheld devices to make the utility infrastructure easier for customers to use. We will see the wall come down in the utility's connection to its end customers. Today's smart meter, for the most part, is where the utility's energy connection with the customer stops. The concept of a meter is acting as a choke point to real innovation. But I believe the meter will evolve into a device that collects and aggregates data from sensors and smart appliances within the home or business and dispatches that information to the appropriate parties to assist customers in the energy services they choose. And by the way, we will expand services well beyond the use of energy, not limited by the concept of a meter. Battery storage will be the game changer, with distributed energy resources pushing to the forefront. Economic, efficient, and reliable micro storage will revolutionize our industry by allowing DERs to be more cost-effective and allowing the grid to be more reliable and more efficient and flexible for customers and the utility to use. You heard some of that from Mary yesterday if you heard that panel. For example, homes with reliable battery storage could be converted into pump storage-like facilities. Customers will charge their home batteries during the night or via solar panels during the day and use the stored energy on peak. This could be managed seamlessly by utilities as a service, allowing the utility to shave peak time usage in exchange for an attractive rate schedule for participating customers. The utility is in an excellent position to be the driver's seat for the new distributed grid. It needs to be the key interface between distributed supply and distributed consumption. The utility should be the owner, manager, and integrator of the plug-and-play distribution platform of the future from supply to end consumption. Instead of losing income due to increased load defection, which is happening across the globe today, utilities must continue to innovate. They must examine existing business processes for ways to provide services that their customers want, both in front and beyond the meter. Utilities must be allowed and encouraged to innovate on both sides of the meter. Finally, utilities must be the catalyst to bring regulators, suppliers, lawmakers, and financial institutions together in a common vision for the industry so that the industry has the flexibility to continue to take care of its customers. I've said before, innovation is not new to our industry. It's in our DNA and always has been since the days of Edison and Tesla. Under leadership of strong visionary leaders who build and support a culture of innovation at every layer of the utility, where people are empowered to ask, what if? The utility future won't be a matter of if, it'll be a matter of when. One of my favorite quotes from Edison said, if we did all the things that we're capable of, we'd literally astound ourselves. Think about that for a minute. The capacity is there, the innovation capability is there. We will astound ourselves where this industry is going to go in the future. Thanks, everybody.